Hey people, welcome back to week 2 of Art Class 101. If you joined Art Class 101 in the first week, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The responses were great, and I think that this is something that probably y'all have been waiting for. So I'm really happy that you responded so well. The people that joined the Patreon, y'all troopers. So this week we're going to do it again. It is going to be the last week of Art Class 101, but if you want to know more of this particular type of information, join the Patreon. I will be posting videos here too, so don't worry. So let's start. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this particular clip by Jay-Z and Beyoncé, Ape Shit. And I actually want to use this clip to show you how important color is, the understanding of color, the standing of color, how one can esteem themselves with color, and why color in contemporary art is still the same. When you look back, way back, like in the medieval times, way back in time, then you could obviously see how color differed from the continent that you were in. If you were in the northern hemisphere, then color was not really the thing, right? Color was really only preserved for those who had a high standing in society. So that were the aristocrats, that were the noble ones, that were the people of royalty, that were not really the commoners, definitely not the peasants, all right? And it also reflected the age, the zeitgeist that they were in. There was a lot of, not really good times, dark ages. And when you go to the southern hemisphere, kind of is different because color seeps through in each and every single part of a culture, of a community. It went as far as the practices that we would have, cultural practices. It goes as far as you could show yourself of what standing you are, how you esteem yourself. It went as far when it came to life and death, right? To give an example, in the Afro-Caribbean culture, it is very common for people to wear white, not black when somebody transitions or, is not alive, not amongst the living anymore. We wear white. It can be white in combination with blue or white in combination with purple, but hardly any black. Color never left us. Even with the horrific time of the transatlantic slavery, color never left us. It even traveled with us. Now, unfortunately, that was, of course, one of the things that we could not practice as we were enslaved. But it never left us because we did a lot of things in secret. A lot of our language, a lot of our understanding and practices that incorporated the color were still there. Color is so much more just an understanding, primary, secondary, tertiary. How do you mix the colors? It goes further and beyond. Now, how does that translate itself to this, Jay-Z and Beyoncé? So when you look at the clip, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, right? And I even went as far as taking this particular book, right? This is the book that I introduced in the beginning of Art Class 101 that I wanted y'all to have in y'all materials, all right? We're still going to be working with this particular book, just not now. That might be at the end of the week. But I took this book to look up the colors that we were wearing, these two beautiful colors. Jay-Z is wearing a greenish type of color, and Beyoncé is wearing a beautiful pinkish type of color. And I will insert a clip here below of the colors that I've actually been able to find in this book. Listen, I already told y'all, she is that girl. This is the book that you need to have, all right? So when we look at the colors and what they explain in that, I'm going to take it along with me. So when you look at the pinkish color, you have it, pink, right? It says here, from the mid-17th century, from plant pink, the early use of the adjective being to describe the color of the plant's flower, right? It has a definite feminine connotation. So you can imagine that pink, in that particular era of time, till now, was worn by women. Not a lot of men will be wearing pink. Pink has definite feminine connotations. It communicates romance, passion, innocence, and fragility. Pink is used for baby girls' rooms and clothing. It has gender connotations that have been questioned for the last 50 years. It is, therefore, a politically charged color. The feminist movement rejected pink as an identifier of sweetness and domesticity. Pink also communicates warm sunsets, pink sand beaches, and house colors of tropical climates. It is a useful tool to create a calming effect or diffuse potentially volatile subject. The cultural meaning. Medieval Christians identified the 5 petals of the pink rose with the 5 wounds of Christ, and pink roses were later associated with the Virgin Mary. Modern Western cultures commonly associate pink with Valentine's Day and Easter. Pink is also used as a term for female sexual organs, as in Surrender the Pink by Carrie Fisher. And like I already said, when you have this book demonstrates basically the usage of pink. And here you can see different ways of how pink is being used. You see it here in the building in architecture, but you can also see it here, of course, the packaging, Valentine's Day. Let's look at the color that JC is demonstrating. Now, it is by approximation that I've been able to find the color that JC was wearing. And it's a greenish color, but to be quite exact, it's like a minty type of color here. It almost equals the color of this painting by Monet, which is of the landscape. Now you see the camera might be picking up the bluish color, but in it, it has a lot of minty greenish colors. And here it says, Waterloo Bridge, London at dusk. Claude Monet, 1904. Monet paints a natural world in the plein air, so open air style, with a focus on light as a reaction to the industrial urbanization of late 19th and early 20th century Europe. Yeah, you really have to be able to see it, but I hope the camera is picking it up. You see like a viaduct, I think that's what you call it, like a bridge, and under it is the water. In the background, you see the trees, you see the nature, and it's more like a piece de résistance against the urbanization of Europe. That was his way of saying, I ain't with it. Read what it says over here. Mint, from the Old English mint, related to German mince, ultimately via Latin from the Greek minte. I hope I said it correctly. Okay, so check this out. Mint exists between light blue and light green. Mint is the younger sibling of green. It communicates growth, life, and the natural world, but it also conveys spring, youth, and beginnings. It is an especially pure color, maintaining a crisp and cool appearance. Mint is also delicate. It must be watched closely on press, as it can shift to light blue or turquoise with too much or too little yellow. Due to the color differences on all monitors, mint will rarely display exactly as intended. So the fact that in that particular clip and also on the photo, the color mint is so fresh, just like the color pink, it's so fresh. It can be used as an alternative to gray. It is light and works well as neutral tone. The upside of mint is the cool and clean flavor, as if it were toothpaste. The downside is a chilly and clinical tone. Mint grew in popularity after the Second World War. Its synthetic and pure appearance was a counterpoint to the muted and dull colors of the 1930s and the 1940s. Mint green is used in the Western weddings to symbolize growth. That is a cultural meaning. And financial prosperity. You hear what I'm saying? Financial prosperity and innocence. Now, I don't know about that. That might be a whole different story. A mint green candle is lit to achieve financial gain in a new age beliefs. In auras, mint green is seen with people involved in spiritual pursuits and advancements. What I find so interesting about this particular color is that JC stands there symbolizing financial advancement. When you look at Beyoncé, she stands very much for the femininity. Ultra, ultra feminine. Ultra, ultra pink. Ultra, ultra innocent. Right? That's very, very beautiful to see that. Another thing that is very interesting, what I just read out loud, is the fact that pink also stood for Virgin Mary. It is something that is immaculate. No one can touch it. The way that they are standing is almost as if they are standing in their sanctuary, the Louvre. Those two colors really much portray that. The financial advancement to be standing in a building like the Louvre and standing in front of great paintings wherever they are, and therefore be able to stand out, the minty color, the pink color. Beyoncé, if you look further into it, where she is standing, and also quick images of saints that were painted back then in the day, but also the Mona Lisa, who's been seen as someone who is immaculate, the most beautiful of the beautiful. And she wearing pink, beautiful, innocent, love, ultra feminine, Virgin Mary, like the thing that I just, read out loud. When you look at them both, JC, financial advancement, coolness, stature. And then you look at Beyonce, romance, fragility, ultra feminine, Virgin Mary, immaculate. But both being able to take these two colors and stand in such a prestigious building, the Louvre, and therefore they esteem themselves with the colors. So when you look further into the clip, you see this beautiful, beautiful dance that Beyonce is having with her other dancers, other female dancers. And they all are wearing brownish, brown shades, neutral shades. It stands for organic, natural, but it's also very much used to blend in, to create cohesion. So how does that, translate itself into the clip, apeshit? So when you look at that, the way that they are able to organically, naturally blend into that great big piece behind them, but also in the Louvre itself, because there is a particular scene in the Louvre where the women, they are like, they're moving like this, like a wave, and they're standing all linear behind each other. It is almost organic, almost so natural that they are standing there in the Louvre. It is as if this was specifically for them to be made, to be standing there. They needed to be there. It is obvious. They blend in so well. See what I'm saying? Right? See what I'm getting at? That is also a very interesting perspective that you can take on color and color theory, how it works, but it evokes calmness, soothing, very, already said, organic and natural. Now, in the clip, there are of course different garments that are being worn. You see it in the texture. You see it in the way that's being portrayed. But one particular dress that I also find very interesting is that white big dress that Beyonce is wearing. White is a shade, but it's considered to be something holy, immaculate. But the way that she is moving in the clip does say very much cultural, very much in your face, expression, expressive. So the way that these two contrast each other, the way that she moves, and also the usage of white. Now, where else do you see that? You see that a lot in Afro-Caribbean culture, in certain practices, Santa Maria, voodoo, right? Hoodoo, white dances, the expressiveness, being under the influence of entities, the entities being present, power being present, spirits being present, and having a reaction to that. You see it there as well. For me, it's very interesting to see how that demonstrates itself in the color white. Why the color white is such a very important color in cultural practices in the Afro-Caribbean culture. All right, people, this is the end of Art Theory 101. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Let me know here below in the comment section what y'all think of it. I will also post this video on my Patreon where you get to see it over there as well. Again, I cannot stress how important this book is, The Designer's Dictionary of Color. Now, I know this is created for designers, but the reason why I want you to have this book, students, is because it gives you a better understanding of how color is so ingrained in the way that we live. Having this book will make you understand how important it is to use color in your work. Now, I can imagine that if that is just not your thing as an artist, hey, that's just what it is. But even the absence of color says a great deal about your work as well. Not just because you are working with only blacks, grays, neutrals, midtones, does it mean that your work cannot be, for instance, a cultural statement or a political statement. Look, for instance, to give another example, I know we are at the end of this video, but to give another example, when the N plus Nazis, what color were they all wearing? They were known to be the brown shirts, and it's also described in this book that they were using brown as what? As a neutral color. There were no differences. Everybody was alike, and anything that was different from that, it was deemed to be the opposite, deemed to be bad. And when you look at the color pink, to even make another link, right now that we're still here, now I got you on the line. When you look at the color pink, pink triangles were used by N plus Nazis to detect gay people, queer people. Color is definitely a political statement that you can make. Look at the MAGA heads. What color do they have? Red, right? Red. Red in combination with the American flag. Make America great again. That is how I actually want to motivate you as an artist. I really want you to think about how important it is to use color and what your message with that is. It is so much more than just knowing how to mix them. We will get to that this particular week, but it's even more important for you to understand that after mixing your colors, after gathering all of the colors, after your inspiration of the colors, it has a meaning. Don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon. Go to the link tree in my bio and you will see a tab that says Hillman Talk, right? Hillman University Talk. It's not hard to see. See you in class next time. Get your book. Class is dismissed.